Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world today. My name's Paul Webb, I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and you are listening to Energy Speaks Back. Energy Speaks Back interviews energy experts from around the world. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to episode 22 of Energy Speaks Back. Weekly I present to you experts from around the world, and today we are in South Africa. Our subject today is maintenance of buildings and the importance of training. Our purpose, as always, is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver savings that impact on our planet. My guest today is not only an expert in maintenance, but he has written many books which are used across the world in universities. His specialities are in coaching people in physical asset management and delivering excellence to maintenance organisations. We are both on a business acceleration course together, and we have become very good friends over the last couple of months. So without any further ado, I give you Jasper Coetzee. So good afternoon, Jasper, and how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Paul. I can't be better.
And tell me, what time of day do you have there? I can see the sun shining.
It's now just after 3 o'clock, 3:15.
And good temperatures at the moment?
Well, it's fine. It's about 24 degrees Celsius.
A little bit warmer than what we've got in the UK, so it's very good.
I suppose so. Yes, it must be warmer. That's what the southern hemisphere does this time of year.
So Jasper, we are currently both on a training course together, which is 12 months of acceleration, which is very tough, and we're getting to know each other. But for today, can you give our listeners some of your background and tell us your background in the industry?
Well, I've been in the maintenance world my whole life. I started off as an apprentice, and then did a degree in mechanical engineering. Then got into maintenance and worked there, and had a very hard life in terms of I was on a mine where there was a heck of a problem with maintenance, so I learned very fast. That and then from there I went into coal mining. I'm not going to go too deep into the thing, and then from there to petrochemicals, and into the computerization of maintenance, and then I left and I started a consulting business, which I'm still in, and soon learned that one of the big things that one must do in maintenance is that is needed in maintenance is training. So I then changed my consulting business. I still consulted, but I changed it very much towards training. I also joined the University of Pretoria for a spell, full time, and later on I was part-time at the University of Johannesburg, and then again the University of Pretoria, where I'm still part-time lecturing. My life sort of is to assist maintenance people, and especially maintenance managers, in becoming the best that they can be.
So tell us about your experience. How may I ask how many years experience you have in this industry?
It's quite a lot. It's 40 plus.
40.
Yeah.
So I've got 40 years experience in the energy industry. When it gets a bit more, do I start saying it's 40 plus?
Yeah, so for the 40 plus, it depends on how you look at it. I think it's very near to 50 now.
And you know,
but the first part I was just learning, of course.
Yeah. But you know, the principles of maintenance. When I started out, I was at a nuclear power station, and we had to maintain a nuclear power station. So once a year, we moved from one reactor to the next. So they alternated it. But I know that the principles for planned preventative maintenance just hasn't changed. There's no changes within that.
Well, let's say we also learn in as time goes by, we get more technology involved. We have instruments that can tell us things about equipment that we did not have before. We have systems, we have computer systems that we did not have before. We we have knowledge that we did not have before. So we learn all the time, and one of the big things that I do myself is to build knowledge in the field, and then to give it through to maintainers.
Mm.
Uh, and that if I say maintainers, it's from artisans up planners, supervisors, and engineers and managers. So all of them are covered really by what we do.
One of the challenges I see when I go into buildings, obviously, I'm looking for maintenance records or I'm looking for detail around this piece of equipment, and the property don't have it. It's gone missing over the years, the many years of the building being built. And I find that my biggest challenge is trying to find data and information around that piece of equipment. What are the challenges now in
Well,
building?
what you find is very typical. One finds that I always say that maintenance people or artisans, at least artisans and supervisors, also comes from the artisans fraternity. They tend to not want to write. They hate writing,
Right.
and they you have to all the time work hard on the issue of getting your information correctly. And luckily, you now get handheld devices and things.
Yeah.
Some data you can get automatically and so on. So it's getting better. It's getting better, and the moment that you get a maintenance manager to really understand exactly what he can get from the data, then he starts pushing his people, and it starts improving.
Yeah. Because I'm sure new technologies with the maintenance things, when it first starts to get to being implemented as such, they feel threatened by that because they think it's going to highlight issues with that they're not doing the work. So there's a little bit of sort of they're a bit worried about things, aren't they?
Yeah, it's better. It's better if you don't have information. Of course, then you can't point fingers. But the point is that it is necessary. It is necessary that people have information, and that you base your maintenance on that information. So what we tend to do is we go into an organization. If we go into an organization, we go into the organization, and we look for information. Some of the information you get from people. There's a lot of information that sits in the minds of people,
Yeah.
and of course you by walking around and by looking yourself, you can find a lot of information, and you have interviews with people and so on, and then eventually you start looking at the critical equipment in the business, and you start identifying the ways in which that equipment fails, which is called the failure modes. And then based on those failure modes, you then determine what should the strategy be or the policy be for maintaining those units.
Yeah.
Uh, and the moment that you do that, then people start understanding that you need a lot of good information to be able to really do it well. Uh, you can get sort of a part good. Let's say even if you just have information that comes from people's heads, it's much better than doing it without that. So.
Yeah.
We then make use of the methodology, which is called reliability-centered maintenance, and so determine what maintenance should be done on the equipment.
Mm.
Uh,
And so where would the starting point be? Because for me, again, the knowledge of what they have on site is an issue. So I like to provide, if I was doing a full-blown energy assessment, and I had, say, a few months to complete that, one of the things I would do is I would do an audit on the assets. So I'd go and looking for all the assets so I can document all the assets. Now, if the client's already got that, great. But if not, it's going to take me a long time to build that asset list. Is that a starting point?
Yes, of course it is. You need that. You need to have some basis from where you work. Now, luckily, in the industry where I'm mostly involved, you find that that part has been done fairly well. Both because the financial guys want a good asset register, but also because that is how the maintenance information systems works. So typically nowadays you find that in most businesses you would find something like SAP SAP or Maximo or so installed, and that sort of forces this issue of having a good asset register, and then. But where they go, they then have a good asset register, and many times they just input tasks per what the manufacturer suggests, and so your task database is not that good. And as we then said, the history is always not always so good, but maybe I make it sound a little bit worse than it is. Because
I can assure you that is
organizations which does it very well.
Yeah, I think in my experience, the maintenance records and asset registers aren't very good. I would say 60% of the properties that I've probably surveyed haven't got asset registers or good PPM information. It's very, very sparse. In fact, I know of a building currently there so what happens, especially in the UK, we have contracts for the PPM and the maintenance team or facility management team. When they hand over from the one to the next, strangely, a lot of the paperwork will go missing. It's a tactic of the maintenance companies. And it's a big problem in the UK.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it is in the UK, but I find that the one thing that organizations are really busy doing fairly well is they up their maintenance planning, but not always based on the best information. So they do a lot of maintenance planning, and what we tend to drive that we want the maintenance managers, we want them to be involved and to get to grips with what is necessary exactly, so that they can drive the whole maintenance planning process.
Yeah,
and the maintenance that takes place.
I think we are seeing that
getting.
I think we are seeing that improving because, as you mentioned before, we're getting platforms and software to help us to deliver that. So, and one of my recommendations is the organization takes control of that platform. So they own that. They own the data. So when they move from one maintenance company to the next, they ensure that data's backed up and handed over to the next company. So we are seeing an improvement in that area.
Yes.
So Jasper, obviously, yes. my passion's about energy, and one of the things I talk about is maintaining buildings to ensure that the efficiencies in that building are maintained. Is there any figures that you can quote today regarding that?
No, I'm not really that strong in the building field, and even energy wise, this is a bit of a new angle for me. Of course, it's true. Of course, it's true that when you don't maintain an electric motor, for instance, that the electric motor's efficiency goes down, and even sometimes you can sort of maintain it well enough so that the electric motor still does its job, which is our focus. Our focus is supposedly on making sure that the profit is there for the organization, but unfortunately we don't always think so strongly on the energy side. And while you asked me for this podcast, I started reading a bit on the issues, and for sure it's true. For sure it's true, and I think in buildings it is more so. But again, that's not where our focus lies. Our focus is mostly on mines and factories and so on.
Right.
More heavy maintenance. Yes.
On the actual process side, that is becoming more and more important for us as an energy expert. We can't just go into an organization and just look at the building per se. We have to focus on the production side. So energy is becoming more and more key to the production side as well.
Yes, of course. Of course. I mean, the amounts of energy that you consume in a typical factory are huge. I was involved with the Mozambique aluminium Mosel plant in Maputo, and I mean those furnaces. I can't even quote the number of megawatts or gigawatts or whatever that was consumed by those units, and so it's very critical. I mean, a very large proportion of our energy production in South Africa went for Mosul, and for the other aluminium smelters down in Richards Bay, which is part of our country. So it can be immense, and surely the savings can be very, very high if you do it correctly.
I've done some research on this because I've designed actually some maintenance software platforms, funny enough, and that maintenance platform helped us do condition-based monitoring. So I quite like condition-based monitoring and monitoring the efficiencies of pumps, motors, etc., and fans. And I like to, ensure that is maintaining its efficiency. And then if it starts to go out of efficiency, then we look to doing the maintenance. And the calculations that are given by the likes of CIBSE, which is the Chartered Institute of Building Services, is in the region of around about 15%. So there's about 15% saving by ensuring that you carry out correct maintenance. So for me, if you don't do that maintenance, that's 15% of energy saving or energy that you're going to lose. Now, I've actually seen
with my reading, I also got that type of figure, 10% plus.
Right. Now, I've seen that exceed even, because when you go into plant rooms and there's a maintenance issue, so that you could have two pumps that are shut, two pumps that run and standby. One of the standby pumps could be faulty, so it's shut off. So what they've done is they've put the other pump in hand, so it's running continuously. So you could see those figures exceed, and I've seen that quite a lot of time, where the energy's gone up completely, where they haven't done the maintenance on the equipment. We've had a failure, and they've put the other piece of equipment in hand, which is on override as such.
Yeah, it's a big field. It's a big field. You talk about condition monitoring. That's of course our method of choice. in the maintenance field. I mean, sometimes you cannot do that, and sometimes you must still work with the older types of techniques where you replace units based on age and so on. Uh, but if you can in any way measure the condition of the equipment, then you prefer to do it in that way, because that allows you to really come to the real life of the piece of thing that you are monitoring. And of course you have other benefits, like you say, you know when you have when you have energy problems, for instance. So condition monitoring is really a very wonderful technique, and so we make use of a variety of methods uh, in that area.
One thing you mentioned at the beginning regarding your background and where your background's taking you is training. Now, for people who know me, training is very close to my heart. I believe in lifelong training for an individual, whether it's with their personal attributes or in their work and their career. I like what you're doing regarding that, because we need to teach um, the next generation on how to maintain buildings, how to maintain equipment. What made you? Where did you get your passion for training?
Well, it was a sort of, as I said, I got into maintenance, sort of started getting a huge passion for the field. And then I started realizing as I went along, as I went upwards in the organization or in the maintenance field, I started understanding that there are very few people that really understands maintenance. I'm blessed. I'm blessed that I understand it fundamentally. I understand it, the basis of it. So I decided, well, I must assist other engineers and maintenance people in this field. So I started the consulting business specifically for that. But then I realized as time went by that, well, the one thing is that if somebody does not know what something is about, then he does not know. So he does not know that he needs help. So you must first convince the person that he or she needs help, and that can only the easier path. The easier path is to provide knowledge, to provide courses, and to get people on there, and then convince them, slowly but surely convince them of the position that they should take. And that works much better than the traditional consulting way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Jasper, it's been really great catching up with you. Is there something I always like to, towards the end of the podcast, give something back to the industry? And I asked the experts and my guests always, is there anything that they can give back to the industry today?
Well, I think when we started together on this journey with this accelerator, me and you, I was a bit amiss. I did not know exactly where to go, because we have this training college, and we train people in the training college, and uh, but you battle with this, exactly the thing that I was talking about just now. You battle with the thing that you get the lower down people coming in, the lower down engineers and so on, but you don't get the bosses. And so something that transpired, that I started understanding in this process, is that I must change my way. I must sort of develop something like the process that we are going through now, to get the bosses to enroll so that they can improve their own situation. And the moment that they improve their situation, that they understand that they need that, then you start winning. So that's maybe the takeaway that I get from this process, and maybe the takeaway that I think that I would also like other people to understand, that you can easily go to some consultant or to somebody and ask the person to come and help you. But the best situation is if you understand it yourself, and if you can improve your situation yourself. And I suppose the same is true in the energy field.
Yeah, totally agree. You need to understand it yourself.
You have this book, Becoming an Energy Expert. It's not the right title, but yeah, you want to teach people to become energy experts. Yeah. And I want to teach people to become asset management, maintenance experts.
Yeah,
and that's really my or the takeaway that people can take from me.
Jasper, I've read some of the content that you produce. It is absolutely very, very powerful, and I feel very aligned with what you're doing. I think you're doing a great sort of justice to your industry. So please keep up that great work. There's a lot of knowledge going into it. Jasper, I'd like to say thank you for coming today. It's been a real pleasure, and I'm really enjoying our experience on this accelerator. And it'd be really great one day to come and actually visit South Africa and meet with you and really chew the fat over what we're doing. So thank you very much for coming today.
I would like to have some nice coffee with you in Oxford Street.
Yes. That sounds perfect. Have you been to England?
That will work wonderful.
Have you been to England?
Yeah, many times. I love that London. That London is a wonderful place. Well, the whole of England, I really love England.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's put a date in the diary very soon, Jasper. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes.
Jasper, thank you. You take care, and please be safe, you and your family.
You as well. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you for listening today, and thank you to my special guest. And if you want to know more about managing your third largest expense, please go to our website on b2benergy.co.uk. That leaves me with one more thing to say. Be safe.